Okay, awesome. Thanks everyone for coming to start your year clear with decluttering. And I'm so glad you're here. For those of you who are new and then don't know me, I'm Megan Montero and I live here in Santa Cruz, California. I've been a Feng Shui practitioner for 20 years. I'm also a traditional spiritual healer in the Nahua tradition of Mexico. And I love to teach people how to declutter in a way that's healing and holistic. And I got into decluttering through my work practicing feng shui because going to people's homes for feng shui work, I would often see that clutter was something that was a challenge for people. And that would be my first recommendation, one of my remedies for good feng shui. And also found that it was hard for people to know how to get started with the decluttering. So that's kind of how I started teaching about decluttering and also my own experience. I've moved many, many times in the last 20 years. And so that taught me a lot about my relationship with my stuff, especially because some of those moves were in short periods of time um, in between moves. So it kind of got me really interested in simplifying and not wanting to move things that weren't really important. So I hope to inspire you today. And what we're going to cover are the three pillars of house healing, 7 good reasons to clear your clutter, and tips on how to get started. We'll do a guided meditation to help you feel more connected to your home. And I'll also share briefly about the Art of Decluttering workshop that begins next week on Tuesday, the 14th, and options for how to work with me one-on-one if you want some more help. And we'll have time for Q&A at the end. If you have questions in the meantime and you don't want to forget them, you can put them in the chat and then we'll get to them at the end. Definitely we'll leave time for questions. And I hope you have some. Um, let's see. Okay. So this is one of my favorite decluttering inspiration quotes. Things which matter most must never be at the mercy of things which matter least. So that's often what happens with clutter is that it gets in the way of those things that matter the most to us. Not just the things that matter the most in our home, but the things that are important about our life. Oftentimes, our relationships are the most important thing, and that maybe it's whatever your life goals are and dreams. So clutter has such a big impact on all aspects of our life, including how we feel in our homes. And so this is a great reminder and mantra to stay focused on the things that matter and let go of clutter so um, that it doesn't get in the way of that. My other favorite quote for decluttering is from Courtney Carver. Getting rid of everything that doesn't matter allows you to remember who you are. Simplicity doesn't change who you are, it brings you back to who you are. And I love this quote because it speaks to that. What I find is that decluttering is so healing and it opens a door to healing and transformation when it's done with intention, when it's done well and deeply. And it can clutter of any kind can, especially when there's a lot, it it's a block in our home, but it's also a block in our lives. It's so um, simplifying down to those things that truly matter, then we can enjoy them and also enjoy our lives more and feel more connected to ourselves and who we are. So the three pillars of house healing are feng shui, declutter, house clearing. These are my three pillars that I see as a process for bringing our home into balance. And when we heal our home, we have the potential to heal ourselves. That's because our home is a mirror. And the three pillars bring the space into balance and remove the obstacles to good health and healing. So Feng Shui aligns your space with nature, enhances the life force energy of the space, and brings the structure into balance. So Feng Shui would look at a number of different things. One is simply the structure of the house. Like before you even move in, the house has patterns in it. And it's about the relationship between the doors, the windows, the walls, the things related to fire and water, the stove, the stairs, the bathrooms. All of those things have this relationship with each other. Then there's also our stuff, the things that we put into the house, and also how we place them, their relationship with each other, and also the house, how the house sits on the land. Um, and as far as the stuff in our house, that includes clutter, of course. So as I said before, decluttering is the first step to good feng shui. And that's because clutter has such a profound impact on the house and on our life. And sometimes doing feng shui remedies to bring the rest of the house into balance will be minimally effective if there's a huge issue with clutter. But sometimes, um, if there's a certain amount of clutter, or depending upon how it's affecting the person, it can affect the energy and the space um, to the degree that it becomes very hard to make progress decluttering because it's so stuck. So sometimes we can use feng shui remedies to get some of the qi flowing and bring the house into balance enough to help get that decluttering going. And then house clearing is working on bringing the spiritual ecosystem of the space into balance by clearing those old stagnant energies, refreshing and restoring a balanced relationship with that spiritual ecosystem. And so that can be helpful to, after decluttering, to help heal the space because the clutter can have such a big impact on the space. But also, again, if somebody's really stuck with clutter, then sometimes we might want to do house clearing to get the stagnation moving and help the person make progress on their clutter. So any of these three pillars is going to be really helpful for your health and your home. They also work really well together. And today we're focusing on clutter because this is a decluttering class. So this is um, a very important and good place to begin. So what is clutter? Uh, my view, clutter is anything that you don't love, you don't use, or that is unorganized. Clutter can even be things that you love and find useful if they don't fit in your space. And that's because a space can only hold so many things before the energy gets blocked or stagnant. I'm just going to mute you just so that we keep the sound recording clear, and then we can unmute when it's time for questions. Um, so a space can only hold so much before the energy gets stuck and stagnant. So say if you live in a 3-bedroom house, you might have already decluttered and everything that you have, you use, you love, and it's organized. But now you move to a 1-bedroom house and you don't get rid of anything and you move all that stuff from the 3-bedroom house to that 1-bedroom house. Now it's going to feel like clutter. So even though those things you love and find useful, the space can only hold so much before it's going to have like a cluttered effect. So it's really helpful. One thing I like to encourage people to do is to try to match the amount of stuff that you have with the space that you have. So clutter is different for everyone. Clutter can be, as I just said, about moving to a smaller house and not letting things go. Can also be the pile of papers on your desk that you haven't looked at for months. It could be your overstuffed closet that makes it hard to decide what to wear. Could be your crowded kitchen cabinet that makes it difficult to find things and interferes with cooking and feeding yourself. Can also be the things in that room that you stop going into because it's overwhelming, or the odds and ends throughout your house that remind you of painful times in the past. So one example is a client that I did some Feng Shui work with. She had this very cluttered shelf in kind of front and center in the living room. And um, I was talking to her about clutter and the effect, encouraging her and giving her some tips about decluttering and talking about these things that remind us of painful times in our past. And she said, "Oh, you mean like my cat's ashes?" And she burst into tears. And so she had sort of haphazardly sitting on that shelf the ashes of her cat who passed away a couple years earlier. And it was a very painful experience because she had two young children. Her husband was on a business trip. She was doing it all alone, and the cat passed away. And so she didn't really have time to grieve and didn't have the support that she needed to go through what turned out to be a stressful situation. So here it was sitting there silently, but those things, our clutter tugs at our life force energy and it does impact us. And so just bringing it up sort of brought up all this grief. So I would love to hear, right? Clutter is different for everybody. If you want to put in the chat, if you feel comfortable sharing, what is clutter for you? Is there something in particular that is tugging at you? You're welcome to put that in the chat. Thank you. Dresser drawers that are a dumping station. Exactly. The freezer. So we're going to do so clutter room and closets, file boxes. Thank you so much for sharing. A closet too full of clothes that are almost okay. So what we're going to do now is a guided meditation, take you on a journey through your home. Piles of papers, definitely. We're going to do this guided meditation. It's only about 5 minutes. And I hope that this will give you a different feeling about your house and see it from a new perspective and maybe get some insights about your relationship with your home and clutter. So if you feel comfortable, close your eyes and feel the weight of your body sitting on your chair. Notice the rhythm of your breath, your inhale and your exhale. And let out a deep sigh. And feel roots coming out of the bottom of your feet, going down deep into the center of Mother Earth, grounding and connecting you to her. And set an intention to stay connected to your heart and stay rooted during this meditation. And you can place your hand on your heart, or both your hands on your heart for a moment, or in your lap, palms open, whatever is most comfortable. Now visualize yourself standing on your street or your driveway as if you're making the approach to your home for the very first time. And take a moment to observe your surroundings as you walk along the path to your front door. How do you feel when you're standing here facing your home? Notice how you feel in your body. Your front door is the place that connects you to the outside world, and it lets in all the nourishment and opportunities into your home to bless your life. Standing here outside your home, imagine you're like a river of chi or life force energy, bringing nourishment, health, blessings, and prosperity with you as you flow. Does this river of chi feel welcome? Is it curious to go inside? Now open your front door. Is there anything behind the door blocking the flow of chi from entering your house? Does your door bump into a coat rack or a table or a pile of shoes? Notice, are any of these things sitting directly in front of you, blocking the path as it, of chi as it tries to flow inside the house? Now, what is your feeling as you stand inside? Just observe the view from the threshold of your home. And how do you feel? Do you feel uplifted or overwhelmed? Now let's walk over to your bedroom. Notice the path that you take to get there. Do you bump into things as you go? Your bedroom is the most important room in your house, and your bed and everything around your bed affect your health and well-being. So step inside to your bedroom and observe. What do you feel when you first walk in? Is there a sense of peace and relaxation? Or do you feel stress and chaos? Is your bedroom a beautiful space that tucks you in at night for a restorative sleep? Or a neglected space piled high with belongings? Now open your closet and observe with fresh eyes. No judgment, just open awareness. What do you see? And how does what you see make you feel? Now take a moment to ask your heart, is there any place in my home or any belongings that have been tugging at my energy, trying to get my attention? Walk over to that place and observe how you feel in your body and in your emotions as you observe this pile or this place with fresh eyes. No judgment, just open awareness. Now I'd like you to imagine, what would it feel like if that place was decluttered and organized? What would it feel like if that place or that pile was no longer tugging at your energy, robbing you of life force energy or cluttering up your mind? How does it make you feel to see it open and clear and sparkling with new life energy? Now, let's take a moment to feel that's like. Now thank your home for any insights that you received on this journey. And thank your heart for guiding you on this journey. And keeping your eyes closed, you can slowly bring yourself back to your body and your breath. Back here to this space, feeling your connection to the ground and your roots going down deep into the Mother Earth. Notice your breath, your inhale and exhale. And when you feel ready, you can slowly open your eyes. So now I want to invite you to take a moment to write some notes. So take some notes. If you had any insights about your house, what did you learn about your home or your clutter? Did you have any insights? It's great to take a moment to write that down. I'd also love to hear what you learned. Feel free to put it in the chat if you had any insights. Um, Maybe it was an area of your home that you want to work on, or you had an idea, or maybe it was simply gratitude for your house. Thank you, Rachel. It was rewarding because I just moved in and I'm grateful for the humble abode I have before me. There's some clutter, but it's minimal. That's beautiful. Thanks. Yeah, we are so lucky to have a space to live in, and sometimes tuning into the space and appreciating it makes a big difference. And it can also be motivating to take care of it because our when we care for our home, we're caring for ourselves. So now let's talk about 7 good reasons to clear your clutter in 2025. Clearing your clutter. Reason number 1 is clearing your clutter will reduce your stress and improve your health. So clutter can make us feel stressed, anxious, and depressed. There have been many studies. One study in particular um, uh, worked with women who described their homes or viewed their homes as cluttered. They found that they had raised levels of the stress hormone cortisol throughout the day, and that the women in the study who described their homes as well-organized, restful spaces had lower levels. And it's been shown that a chronically cluttered home environment can lead to constant low-grade fight or flight response. That taxes our resources, and chronic stress can cause disease and also exacerbate the symptoms of existing health problems. So chronic stress is linked to a lot of different health issues, including insomnia, autoimmune diseases, anxiety, depression, weight problems, heart disease, and on and on. So you have the potential to create a healing home sanctuary that nourishes you from the stresses of the outside world. That is the potential. Our home can be that sanctuary. There's enough out there in the world that is stressful, and we don't want to have that stress in the home if we can avoid it. Reason number 2 is clearing your clutter will improve your mental clarity. So in an article by Libby Sanders, What Does Clutter Do to Your Brain and Body? She talks about that it's the visual distraction of clutter that impacts our brain. And it does impact our brain. They found that it increases cognitive overload and can reduce our working memory. There was a study in 2011. Neuroscience researchers used fMRI and other physiological measurements, and they found that clearing clutter from the home and work environment resulted in a better ability to focus and process information, as well increased productivity. So when our brain isn't functioning properly, it's harder to think clearly and to remember things, and it makes it hard to make decisions or feel motivated. And all of that can trigger more stress, anxiety, and depression. And I'm sure everyone has experienced that peaceful feeling and calm, that mental clarity that comes after restoring order to the chaos. So simply doing the dishes or clearing off your desk, ideas and decisions and motivation, they all seem to flow more easily. Feel free to share in the chat if you know that feeling that I'm talking about. One woman who said to me after decluttering, she said, I realized it was cluttering my mind. I don't need my mind to be cluttered. It feels so good to know that I can go to my closet and can easily decide what to wear. It was a burden to try to figure it out. So reason number three, clearing your clutter will increase your joy and happiness. So in Dan Buettner's famous Blue Zones of Happiness study on centenarians, he learned that one of the secrets to their longevity and happiness was the quality of their relationships. These elders from all over the world had deep, long-lasting relationships with family and friends, and they prioritized those relationships. It's common that people who have cluttered homes often feel embarrassed and ashamed to have company over. And the long-term effects of that is isolation and loneliness. And over time, that has a huge impact on our health, our happiness, and longevity. But even if you don't have, even if your home isn't so cluttered that it makes it so that you avoid having people over, any amount of clutter can attribute to chronic stress, and chronic stress zaps our energy and our joy, and that is linked to depression. Thank you, Nancy. Yes, physical clutter does clutter my mind too. Yeah, and it's a fast return. When we clear it, it immediately makes our mind feel better. So reason number four, clearing your clutter will save you time. So not having enough time to declutter is one of the biggest reasons people give for not decluttering is I don't have the time. But decluttering now actually saves you time in the future. So the average person spends 1 year of their life looking for something that they misplaced. And 80% of the papers we file, we never refer to again. So think about all the time it takes to file those papers in the first place, and then sort through them again to find something that you don't actually need. The question is it worth it to you? That's really all that matters. After decluttering, the average time spent cleaning is reduced by 40%. I love that. Okay, so knowing that having clutter costs you time, what would you rather be spending your time doing? And do you have enough time for the things that are the most meaningful to you? And if you came up with anything, feel free to share it in the chat. Welcome, Christina. I'm glad you came. So clutter costs you time, and decluttering now will actually save you time in the future for the things that matter the most to you. So what matters the most to you? That's a really good question to ask when you're embarking on any kind of decluttering project. And it's a great question to begin the new year with. We do this reflections of the old year and these intentions and goals for the new year. What matters the most? Rather be relaxing in cleanliness and peace of mind. That's beautiful. Thanks for sharing. Okay, reason number five. Clearing your clutter will save you money. Again, in the Blue Zones of Happiness book by Dan Buettner, he writes that Americans may find it harder to make room for flow and family time because our houses are often filled with clutter. In fact, we may have more stuff than any society in history. And according to one study, Americans spend $1.2 trillion a year on non-essential stuff. The average person wears 20% of the clothes they own 80% of the time. And 80% of what we keep, we never use. So all of those things that you're keeping but not using cost you money to either purchase, transport, or store. And those things, they're taking up valuable space in your life. So I would love to hear in the chat, do you ever buy things that you already have because you forgot you had them? That can be really common when we have more than we need and don't have a clear picture of what we have. So end up buying things that we already have because we forgot we had them, or um, if you maybe you knew you had something, but you just couldn't find it. Reason number six, clearing your clutter will increase your energy. So clutter definitely zaps our energy, and having clutter will make you feel tired. So we're connected energetically to all of our things, and that tugs on our energy, especially when we have more than we need, or things that don't serve a positive purpose or have, maybe they remind us of hard times in the past or things that we're trying to let go of emotionally. But clearing your clutter will give you energy. And from a cognitive behavior therapy parent point of view, um, according to Alice Boyes, so when you make a series of quick decisions and therefore solve a series of problems, you put yourself into get it done mode or getting things done mode. And when you do that, you're likely to find that you feel energized enough to start taking other things off your to-do list. So I've definitely felt that. I wonder if you have felt that once you just start taking a few steps, you get a little bit done, you start to get inspired and energized, and you just keep going. Thank you, Nancy. I do feel my clutter as an energy drain. Yes, it can be very heavy, and letting go of clutter is like a weight being lifted. It's a very common response after people declutter. So, reason number seven, for new things to come in, old things must go out. So this class is about starting the new year clear with decluttering. And it's all about welcoming new beginnings in the new year. And so in order to welcome those new beginnings, those new things, experiences, um, we need to let things go first to open that door. Um, Good endings create good beginnings, and one way to initiate that good beginning is to let some things go. And nature teaches us that this is just a natural part of living. Nature lets go. Everything in life is in the process of breaking down, wearing out. Our clothes wear out, our tastes change, food goes stale, light bulbs burn out. New things are always coming into our home and into our life. And if the old things don't go out, then there's not going to be any room for those new things. Not just the new physical things, but the new experiences. Um, and a good example is that we eat food every day to keep us healthy, and our colon needs to do its job to let the waste go. Otherwise, we get backed up, feel sluggish, unhealthy. It's part of nature. Same goes with our home. And our home is like an extension of our being, our body, and our life. Um, Plants show us the same thing. They let go of their leaves. They do that shedding process. And it's all what helps to make springtime and new beginnings possible. So we let go in the fall and do that inner work in the winter so that we can have that new growth, those new beginnings, that promise of spring, that vital energy. But it's only necessary, it's only possible with that necessity of letting go first in the fall. So it would be good to get clear if you haven't already. What are the new things that you're wanting to bring forth in your life this year? You're welcome to put that in the chat if you wish, or just keep that for yourself. And, um, that can be one of your guiding lights as you do your decluttering process, to stay clear or stay connected to that intention. One client that I worked with, we did a massive decluttering on her clothes because she had a lot of clothes, and she got rid of a lot of clothes, and it brought in a new career opportunity that she was so excited about. And she um, she correlated it with the decluttering of her clothes. And this career opportunity sent her career in a different direction was more satisfying and more prosperous. And she was super happy. She's put that intention out into her process of decluttering. So our consumer culture teaches us that more is better. We think we need more than we do. But the truth is that less is more and more is a burden. And one of the things I often hear from clients is, or people who take my decluttering workshops, is that they're afraid that if they declutter, they'll end up not having enough things. But what ends up happening is that after taking stock of what's important and letting go of what isn't, the value and appreciation for what we have actually increases. So we actually feel like we have more because you are having things, you appreciate the things that you love and find useful. So even though decluttering, you're going to physically have less, you will probably feel like you have more. All right, let's move into tips to help you get started decluttering. My number one tip is to simply schedule time for decluttering on your calendar. It's so easy to think, oh, I'm just going to fit in the cracks of my day or whenever I have time. But oftentimes, people have resistance to decluttering. And anything we have resistance to, it's going to make it really easy to just keep putting it on the back burner. So take some time to look at your calendar and get clear, okay, how much time do I want to devote to this project? And even if it's small windows of time, 1 hour a week, or maybe a couple hours on the weekend, or whatever it is, you schedule it. That's a good way to ensure that you'll actually get it done, just like you would any other appointment with someone else. You're making an appointment with yourself in your home. And tip two is to take it step by step. The first step is to schedule it on your calendar. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step from the wisdom of Lao Tzu. This is the key to decluttering in my view. So oftentimes with clutter, it can get so overwhelming and people look at the whole project. Maybe it's, I have this whole room or I have all these areas, or I have the whole house I want to work on. And then it just becomes, we send our energy way out, out, out into fear and into the future. And we need to bring it back into the present and just focus on, okay, let's break it down to steps. And what's the first step? The only thing you need to be concerned about is that first step. And remember, once you get started, you're going to get some energy that's going to help you keep going to the next step. So just doing a few small steps is going to give you energy, motivation, and confidence to keep going. So that overwhelmed and looking at the big picture can be super overwhelming. And so coming back to that center and that first step. Oh, that's great, Rachel. I love hearing that. Yes, that's a great reminder. So step by step, one way to do step by step is to declutter one category at a time. So for example, clothes would be one category, books would be one category. Instead of, I'm going to tackle the whole room and all the different categories at once. Pick one category in each room or one drawer. If you're doing clothes, you could break clothes up further into many categories. You could do all the pants, all the shirts, all the coats. Just take it one step, one category at a time. That's a way to reduce the overwhelm. Tip three is to pause to reconnect to your heart. So again, it can be very overwhelming to declutter, especially when there's resistance and um, there can, there might be some um, criticism or self-judgments about it, whatever it is that can trigger more stress. So pausing to reconnect to your heart, coming back to your body and your breath, recentering yourself and reminding yourself of your desire to declutter, just to take the pressure off and come back to your center can make a huge difference and recalibrate as you're going through the process of decluttering so that you keep going. So it's the emotional threads that are tied in with our things that make decluttering so difficult. And pausing to feel our feelings and reconnecting to our heart, our body, and our breath will help you stay mindful and present and allow you to move more gracefully through those difficult emotions so that they don't take over and create more resistance. And one way that I like to help with that coming back to center and reconnecting to my heart with decluttering is to create a decluttering mantra. So here are two. You can try these on, see if you like them, or create your own. The best one is something that really resonates with you. So help me to or I easily let go of the things I don't need so I can enjoy and appreciate the things I do need. And the other one was created by a decluttering student. I create a home that is peaceful and serene and easy to clean. So this is like a centering thought or a decluttering mantra. So you can say something like this to before you start and then take a break, maybe set a timer to come back to remind yourself to come back to your heart and use this as a centering thought, come back to your body and breath. And tip number 4 is ask any or all of these questions. I love these questions, and my clients and students have found them to be very helpful. So, does this add value to my life? Does this enhance my life force energy? So when you're actually going through your things and you find something that you're just not sure about, do I want to keep it or not? You're attuning into how you truly feel about your things. Does this enhance my life force energy? Is this worth the time, energy, and money it takes to keep and maintain this? Because that's really what it comes down to is all of our things take time, energy, and money to keep them and to maintain them. So is it worth it to you? And only you can answer that question. So those are all my tips, and I just wanted to share briefly that if you want to go deeper and want to do my decluttering class next week, I'm offering the Art of Decluttering 4-week online workshop. It begins on Tuesday, January 14th, and I'll just show you this page. I'll give you the link. You can look at it later on. Let's see if you wanted to. Um, we're going to meet for 4 weeks and for 2 hours each week. And we're actually going to be doing some decluttering in the class. So that'll be part of the class when we're on Zoom. And what we're going to do in the 4 weeks is more teachings and exercise to help you identify goals and intentions for your home and life, step-by-step instructions to guide you through the decluttering process. We're going to explore the emotional side of clutter and how to navigate it, organizing basics. We're also going to do mini Qigong sessions in each of the class to help get grounded and energized and clear. I love to use Qigong for centering and getting grounded. And as I said, each class, we're going to do a let's get it done session. We're going to work on an area of your home that you've identified as your goal. And we'll have time for sharing and for Q&A. Um, and so I'll put that in the chat, the workshop, if you want to learn more. I would love to have you if you want some more help. And if you want some more help but don't want to be in a class, I also work one-on-one, and that page is also on my website. So great. Now we have time for questions. Um, Feel free to unmute and ask your question or put it in the chat if you prefer. I love to answer decluttering questions. Um, and that's what we have time for. Anything that you wanted to learn about and that I didn't cover, or do you want to share any of your insights about your house? Oh, thanks, Nancy. I'm glad it was inspiring. Yeah, I think the biggest thing to take away is that um, our clutter impacts so many areas of our life. Our home impacts so many areas of our life, and caring for our home is caring for ourselves. And decluttering is, in my view, a really beautiful act of self-care. Let's see, it helped to see the flow of chi entering the house. How did it flow? Oh, good. Glad to hear that. Yeah, a lot of people love that meditation. I often do it in different ways in my different classes, because you can get lots of different insights from that. And the front door is the most important part of the house because that's where the chi flows in. And so keeping that area around the front door, whether it's outside or inside, is really key. Tisha says she wants to improve her front door. Okay, yes. Awesome. Any other questions or sharing? Yes, the front door is where it's at. Thanks for that. Okay, well, if there aren't any other questions, super class. Thanks, Tisha. Glad you enjoyed it. Glad you got inspired. Well, thanks everyone for coming and for sharing. It's great to share with you. Yes, setting a vision to get started. Great, Nancy. Yeah, it's really helpful to connect it to your vision for your home and for your life. So thanks everyone. Happy New Year and happy decluttering. And I look forward to seeing you another time. Bye.